What's up? Coach Ryan Fainley here from the Fat Loss Solution, and today I'm going to talk to you about ground meat and how to make ground meat more interesting and how to boost health while you're at it. Now, I love ground meat for all meal plans because it's super versatile. You can make a ton of it in bulk and have it ready for subsequent meals, and there's a lot of ways to spice it up to add flavor. So when I make ground meat, I'll have all 4 burners on the stove going with the different meat in each pot. I'll have venison in one, lamb in another, turkey in another, and it keeps me on track because I can prepare a lot at once. Now, the cool thing about ground meat is you can fit it into any meal plan. So if you're on a ketogenic diet or a low carb, high fat diet, you can go with cuts of meat like lamb, you can go with fatty or beef cuts, you can go with more of the red meat types. If you're on a lower carb, or excuse me, a lower fat, higher carbohydrate plan, no worries. You can still get plenty of ground chicken, ground turkey, leaner ground cuts of beef where it's maybe 90% lean, and that'll be lower in fat. And so you're really missing out if you're not using ground meat to some extent in your eating arsenal. Now, I'm always telling you, eat your protein, eat your vegetables, right? So one of the things I'm going to tell you today is it's best if you can combine them. Okay, it'll taste better and you get a lot of benefits without even thinking about eating vegetables. It's much easier to eat vegetables chopped up in your ground meat than it is to sit there with a massive salad and just snack on the salad like you're freaking brontosaurus just eating leaves. Okay, so today I'm going to give you some of the things that I like to do to spice up my meat dishes. It may be something you're currently doing, it may be things that you haven't ever thought of. I'm also going to give you the health benefits to what each thing is, and so we'll make this maybe a 2-part series, maybe 3 if we stretch it, but today I'm just going to go over a few of my favorite things. So the first thing that I like to do in ground meat is good old-fashioned banana peppers. And I'm even going to eat these right here in front of you because they're that good. Excuse me. If you can get some good fresh banana peppers, they add a ton of flavor to your meat, and they also offer quite a few health properties. So banana peppers specifically improve blood pressure and circulation, amongst other things. So why is that important in fat loss? Well, circulation is directly related to fatty acid oxidation. So you're not going to be able to oxidize or burn fatty acids if you've got terrible circulation. So improving circulation indirectly helps improve fat burning. So we want to, it's not going to be solely because you eat banana peppers that all of a sudden you're going to get ripped. So I got to be upfront with you there, but every little bit counts. And if you're trying to get that last little bit of stubborn fat off, it can make a huge difference. The next thing that I like to add to my ground meat dishes are tomatoes. So tomatoes can come in many forms. You can obviously chop and use fresh tomatoes. That's your best option. If you're in a pinch though, I do like canned tomatoes, especially if they have something else like these are canned tomatoes and green chilies, which are awesome for Mexican night where we like to do a little taco seasoning and some sour cream and avocado. Those make a nice good dish. Another thing that you can do to add tomatoes is using more like a marinara or a pasta sauce. So I like to use organic, specifically this kind has roasted garlic and it's pretty daggone good over some ground meat. Don't be afraid to even venture out and maybe make some ground elk marinara. Without the pasta, of course, unless pasta is part of your meal plan. But if you're on a fat loss blog, it's probably not. So you can go with that. Now tomatoes, one of the reasons that tomatoes are awesome, tomatoes, again, everything I'm listing here has a ton of health benefits, but tomatoes specifically have a lot of lycopene. Now lycopene, and as a general rule, the things that are colored tend to affect that colored part of the body. So things that are red tend to have a positive impact on the heart and blood and circulation. So tomatoes tend to have a good effect on heart health, and it actually can decrease blood fats or triglycerides. So this is important if you've been to a doctor and they're telling you you've got high triglycerides. Try incorporating some tomatoes into your plan to help with that. Next on the list is yellow peppers. I like to chop these up and saute them in olive oil a little bit before I throw the meat in. Now, yellow peppers are awesome because they have lutein and carotenoids, amongst other things like vitamin C as well, but lutein and carotenoids, which are beneficial to eye health. And even though eye health doesn't directly affect fat loss, I guess we could say that having better eye health will help you when you look in the mirror to check out your new ripped abs from the fiber and peppers and protein you're eating. All right, bit of a stretch there, I know, but whatever. Finally, for today's post, the last thing I'll talk about is celery. Celery can be pretty boring by itself. But it works really well when you chop it up and put it in ground meat or put it in a slow cooker with some beef stews. The cool thing about celery is it actually prevents inflammation in the digestive tract. So if you have problems where you get bloated when you eat pretty much anything, or you have funny bowel movements or anything like that, celery is a good thing to include for GI issues. Now, the other thing with GI issues that I'll mention is that if you're not properly digesting your food, it doesn't matter how good your fat loss diet is, you're not going to get in shape if you're not digesting and assimilating those nutrients. So even if you don't have poor digestion or inflammation in your digestive system, I always like a good dose of celery just to keep things healthy and keep things moving. So these are just a couple superfoods that really go well in ground meat. I'll talk about some more in another version of this series, but I hope you learned something today. I'm Coach Ryan, and I'll see you next time. God bless.